hello guys, good morning there. Sasquatch Prospector here for you. So as you can see, we're at the ferry terminal, BC Ferries, ferry dock. It's about 6:45 in the morning. We got an 8 o'clock sailing. We're gonna head to the island and we're gonna do some exploring on the island. There's lots to see on the island, tons of cool stuff, lots of logging. Horseshoe Bay Ferry Terminal, heading towards Nanaimo, Vancouver Island.
Alrighty, Highway 4, heading towards Port Alberni. So we turned off the 19, the Island Highway. We're on the 4 now, which is going to take us to Port Alberni. Would continue on to Yakulit and Tofino. The McLean Mill, that's a logging mill in Port Alberni. Port Alberni's known for logging.
1926 National Historic Site, Alberni Pacific Railway. Alrighty, so we're at the main area here for the mill. Take a walk. Let's check it out. So that big stack you see there, that'd be the donkey, the steam donkey. That's their winch for lifting and hoisting. So let's go take a look. What do we got here? It's a big chainsaw. Nice. Oh, blades. Various different teeth. You know what's becoming a lost art nowadays? Saw filing. It's a very, very important skill, but not a lot of guys know how to do it anymore, being a saw filer. You can see where they've been logging up on the sides of the mountain there. Okay, so we're in the mill now. The rollers for all the wood. Oh, where they radial saw for the cutting. Fascinating. So yeah, that's the finished product, right? Those pieces of wood there. So they use this for planing wood. So you have boards of a certain thickness, and then they use this grinder here to plane the board, and then all these cloth straps and stuff are what giving it momentum. That's really cool. Electric motor, AC motor, sprocket and chain, and it just goes all the way down. So this roller, this roller, this roller, this roller, all the rollers are just connected with sprockets and chains, and then the board just moves along. There are 3 basic stages in the manufacture of lumber: cutting the logs into slabs, trimming the wood into boards, and cutting the boards into standard lengths. Although the mill manager decides what kind of lumber is being cut to fill a particular order, each step is directed by a sawer who decides how to get the most value out of the wood. Making the boards. The second stage is carried out in this part of the mill, restored to how it would have looked in the 60s. The wood from the head saws is caught by the tail sawer and fed to a transfer chain that carries them across the mill to the edger. The edger man trims the wood into dimension lumber. The lumber goes through the edger onto a transfer chain, which takes them to a belt leading to the trim saw, where it is cut to length. Because you've got 2 different types of lumber. You've got dimensional lumber and rough cut lumber. Rough cut lumber obviously being rough cut lumber that was cut rough, and then dimensional being certain thickness. Steam engineer, this guy here operating the boiler over there. Winch operator, dogger, setter, head saw, tail saw, edger man, outfeed, trim saw, millwright. But it starts here, and then that planer, the planer down there is where they plane the thickness, right? So what they're doing is they're trimming it to length. They're making the edge nice and defined, the edge of the lumber, and then they're planing it down to a proper thickness with the thickness planer. Down below here, Carriage Engine. The Lidgerwood twin steam engine that is used to move the head carriage was manufactured in the late 1870s. There are some discrepancies as to how McLean's acquired the engine. According to most popular story, the engine came from an old freighter were used as a winch before R.B. McLean purchased it in either 24 or 25. It has an 8-inch piston and works like a hot damn. Its reversibility makes it ideal for moving the carriage. Okay, and then so yeah, spool, right, winch, basically. This is the whole show here underneath. Really cool though, guys. Really cool being an old mill. Be loud working in here though. All those saws going, the whining of the saw blades, and that steam engine pounding away. Log turner. Behind the log haul back winch is the system that operates the log turner. Operated by a lever system, it is controlled by the sawyer upstairs in the sawyer box, where the sawyer has a view of the logs being moved. The log turner helps the sawyer to position the load of the logs on the carriage so that the best possible cut can be made from the wood. Oh yeah, cut-offs. Odds and ends they don't like. So this is where all the boards, after they're done being processed. So it starts down there, cutting, then it gets edged, then it gets planed, and then once it's dimensionalized, it comes out here. And you see all these rollers, they can roll it off where they need to, and then fill the order, right, of wood, whatever that may be. Very simple system, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. The boiler, right, you'd see this steam line go into the planer. Power lines, old power lines. Oh, the old transformers too. Back in the day. Oh, the evolution of the mill. Perfect. Yeah, nice. I knew it'd be hiding somewhere here. Main engine. The past is evident in the holes and wires that do not match with the present functions. Old joins show where the roof and the floor have been added to. The introduction of hydroelectricity in the 40s and further upgrades in the 50s allowed the mill to be reconfigured to make better use of the new electric-powered machinery. 20s and 30s. 60s, right? So that's the power lines. Transformers, hydropower, that's what we just saw. Stack, boiler, feed line, planer, and they moved this. And then that's where all the wood, you see the guys there, the boys stacking the lumber. And then this is where they burn off all the stuff they don't want. And then the logs sit out in that pond there, the holding pond, and then they draw them up into the conveyor, get sawed, then they get cut lengthways, then they get edged, and then they get planed down. And then that's how you get dimensional lumber. But the ingenuity of these boys, man. The Focke steam tractor is powering this. That's the planer. And that's how they're running the planer. And the Lidgerwood runs the carriage. And then the Welland does everything else. Okay, I don't know what this is, guys. I'm pretty sure it's a skidder. But any of you logging guys, you know what this is, let me know. Because I'm pretty sure this is a skidder. And then that's a skidder. Even older than the other one. But yeah, like picking up wood maybe. Crane or excavator crane looking thing. We got a hoist, basically it's a hoist. They got the cage to protect the picker, right? It's a crane. All these little carts and winches and sprockets and chains and oh, another dozer. Another dozer. Really critical, guys. Dozers, graders, hose, dump trucks, right? All really important for building road. And as a logger, building road is key. Winches. We got another crane here. We got another crane, really nice crane too at that. Crane truck, fancy schmancy. Oh, the garage, yep. Okay, so you got a grader, right? This would be a grader. They use these for building roads. Like I was saying, being a logger, really important you know how to build road. Truck fleet. And it's got a straight 6 in her. Look at that, eh? Nice, straight 6. All the fleet trucks. And then the A-frame, guys. This is really cool. It's on a sled, so it slides through the bush real easy. And then they basically just use it as a hoist, right? It's an A-frame hoist. Use it as a yarder, maybe. I don't know what they were doing with it, but there's multiple things you could do. It's a hoist, right? Basically, fair lead, changes the direction of the rope, so the cable goes up. Winches, Powerpack, operating house, the driving house there, gas, oil, got all that stuff, all the good stuff. Okay, so this is really important. This is a yarder. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to do the old way, tie in a bunch of ropes and heave ho in the log back to camp there, or to the landing. So what they do here, it's called a yarder. And so you follow a bunch of trees out over here, and they follow where they are, right? But you got to get them out and get them to the landing so they can be put on a truck, brought to the mill to be processed, which is where the yarder comes in. And it's stayed around stumps, so they stay it, what is it, basically spikes. Yeah, choked. They got it choked around itself, tensioned and then spiked. And they're using stumps, 1 stump, 2 stump. And then, so this boiler here, this allows the thing to actually run, obviously. But this is the Powerpack. This is where all the magic happens. Those cables and winches up there, that's, you'd cut a log down and you take the yarder line, the tongs, see, for grabbing the wood. You wouldn't use that. You use that choking cable I showed you guys. And then this is what's hoisting the logs, right? Dragging the logs back to the landing. That's the winch. It's got a bunch of blocks on it, blocks and shivs, cables, and then that's what the hoisting does. That's how it hoists as well. Another sled. This assembly right here, these swivels hooked to these shackles, then the chokers. So that's how they be hoisting logs. This is what does the actual lifting, like what you attach the logs you've just felled. We're gonna go look at the railway engine now. That's super important because, as we found out in the 20s there, that's how they transported their thing. And you can come here in the summer when it's open and they'll demonstrate this for you. They'll turn it on, they'll show you how the yarder works in real time. You can also ride the steam railway from Port Alberni to the McLean mill. It's about 15 kilometers, I think. Starts in town there at the Port Alberni train station, and then it takes you to the mill, right? And kind of replicating what would have been done back in the day, right? Alberni Pacific Railway. They got firefighting stations here, right, all along, because obviously it's a mill. It's made of wood, so, there's a lot of wood in it. And then we got the train. RB McLean Lumber Company #1. Westminster Ironworks. Yeah, those guys. So, the gas locomotive was bought new for $9,250 by RB McLean Lumber Company in 1928 from Westminster Ironworks in New Westminster. It was used to transport logs from the bush to the sawmill, 1 car at a time. It was also used to move lumber cars on the mill site down to the siding on the CPR main line for shipment to the port and eastern markets. Up to the time, steam had always been the power source on the railroad, and the gasoline engine was a novelty. Gas engines of the period could not compare to the steam power, but were simpler and more economical. The locomotive has a Buda 6-cylinder motor. Only 2 Buda locomotives were built. This is the one surviving. Restoration work has been completed by the Industrial Heritage Society. Some nice timber, man. So this is what the yarder would have done. And then the mill would be picking this up and turning it into boards for your house. You can see the logging railway spur. That's gonna be it for the McLean mill. Fantastic, man, absolutely fantastic. I love it. We got to see yarder, we got to see steam donkeys, we got to see an old A-frame donkey sled, that old train there. Yeah, man, super cool. If you guys are in Port Alberni, highly recommend. About 15 minutes out of town. Like I said, come the summer here, they'll be open in full swing, full shows and everything. Do the forest walk if you want, but it's really cool, guys, I must say. Like, I really enjoyed that. It was really good, really well done, really well put together. Definitely come for the tour though, because you know, trying to piece it together was a little bit of a puzzle there, but it made a lot of sense once I found the signs I was looking for. It started to make more sense. So just an FYI, it's been pasted, like it's had various different incarnations, and it looked completely different at different times. So it's kind of a mishmash. We're gonna close it out now. That's gonna be it for the McLean mill. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely check it out if you're ever in the area, and do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And Sasquatch Prospector out.